If you are treating Saturday mornings like an uninterrupted time block to finally catch up on emails or spending your Sunday evenings filled with anxiety, reviewing next week's client deliverables, you are failing at basic operational boundary management. It doesn't mean you're broken, but it means your system is ready for an upgrade. You think working weekends proves your work ethic, but the brutal reality is that it proves that your weekday systems are broken. You haven't built a high value asset. You've built an 80-hour job that is quietly destroying your sanity and your personal life. Look, I'm Brooke Plack, a multi 7-figure operator who built an operations empire from scratch in the trenches through raw, hard-earned experience, not some lifestyle coaching theory. And the only reason my companies generate predictable profit while I work a focused 25 hours a week is because I enforce a strict executive time system and the Friday shutdown protocol. Today, I'm going to break down in this episode the step-by-step framework to stop working weekends permanently without letting your business drop the ball. And stay till the very end because I'm sharing the true emergency filter, that the one communication rule that will eliminate 99% of weekend team interruptions forever. So let's look at the system. Working weekends is not a badge of honor. That is something I wish someone had told me much earlier in my business owner and entrepreneurship journey. It's an operational warning sign. So when you use the weekend as your safety net, you subconsciously allow your weekday schedule to remain sloppy, reactive, and cluttered with low value tasks. And what I mean by weekends is I don't necessarily mean Saturday, Sunday. Like let's say you're in the food business and Monday, Tuesday is your weekend. Whatever 2 days that you are using for your rest and reset time, that is what we mean by weekend here, okay? So the first thing that's so important is the Friday shutdown protocol. And this is something you can do a little bit daily, but the end of your work week, whatever, if your work week ends on a Friday, mine usually ends on a Thursday, that is so important that you are already getting prepped for Monday, and it will completely change your Sundays. So if you are closing your laptop on a Friday with open tabs, unread Slack messages, and unscheduled Monday morning meetings, you need to execute a mandatory 30-minute Friday shutdown protocol. And honestly, the more you do it, you actually get way faster at it, and it doesn't take near 30 minutes. But every week, your shutdown protocol at 4:30 or whenever it is, like 30 minutes before you're done. If you finish at noon on Fridays or 7 on Fridays, clear your inbox to zero or mostly to zero, or that you've scanned all the messages. Okay. So you're not leaving any empty threads throughout the weekend, and audit your weekly operational metrics. I actually do this on Monday. So Friday or Monday, whatever works best for you, as long as you have a rhythm and a cadence that you stick to, and then map your top 3 needle moving priorities for Monday. What are the main things you're going to need to focus on Monday? And I actually start copying stuff over to Monday all throughout the week, because then it's like, oh, this can wait until next week. Like if it's a busy week, this can be a Monday priority and still get done in time for whenever we're trying to execute this. And what that does is your brain knows Monday's coming, but it's already engineered that what you need to work on is there, and that Sunday night anxiety or the Sunday scaries start to vanish. And if you're ready to drop the busy badge and you really just don't know how, but you want to build real world leadership skills, not somebody just talking to you behind a screen, be sure you subscribe to our show or follow it on your favorite platform, because we drop multiple episodes every week to help breathe life back into entrepreneurs and business owners. All right, the second thing is weaponizing what we call Parkinson's Law. Parkinson's Law says that work will expand to fill the time allotted for its completion. So if you have 4 hours to complete a project, it'll take you 4 hours. If you only have 2, you can probably knock it out in 2. So if you give yourself 7 days a week to run a company, it will take you 7 days a week to get those tasks done. But by enforcing a weekend blockade, it forces your brain to be hyper efficient and only focus on those high value tasks between Monday through Friday, or Monday through Thursday, or Sunday through Thursday, whatever it is your work week looks like. And then you will start using strict time blocking, and also quit checking your messages while you're working and quit letting notifications distract you, into your operating cadence that compresses all of your daily activities into a smaller time frame and allows you to have that time off. And it's so much better to have true dedicated time off for your cortisol levels, for your stress levels, for your sleep, for your hormones, like all of those things, versus just working a little bit, break, little bit, break, little bit, bit, and then letting all that work get, out. All right. And then the last thing is having asynchronous team boundaries. So team members sending non-urgent messages or documents on a Saturday because they know you'll respond. We fix this in our companies we use Microsoft Teams to communicate. A lot of companies use Slack. You can send a message on the weekends, but don't expect a response. That's how ours is. If you want to work on your off time, that's on you, but that's not when we will be responding as a leadership team. So if you have a clear asynchronous communication guardrails that from the beginning in your hiring and delegation playbook, they will know that if they send a message on the weekend, they're not going to get something back on Monday morning. And I don't get to my desk on Monday mornings until 10 o'clock. And my team knows that. And so if you train your team to respect your off hours and you respect their off hours, you're also training yourself and giving yourself permission not to react. And so here is the last thing that I want to mention is I talked about at the beginning of the episode is the true emergency filter is, sometimes you do have to address operational crisis on the weekend, but you've got to define what that actually is and stop treating every client hiccup like it's a life or death emergency, right? So you've got to define for yourself a true ironclad emergency filter. So if a true emergency is a server down or the bank account overdrafted, or if there's a huge social media scandal that busts out on the internet, like those are things that we don't wait to address. We go ahead and run headfirst in those and address those immediately. And if you give your team a specific, protocol of only text me on my personal phone for emergencies, then you realize that 99.9% of the things, they can wait till Monday at 9 a.m. and you reclaim your weekends. You become a better version of yourself and you realize that you don't have to be worthy of rest. Rest is something innate that you deserve and that you earn by walking on two legs on this planet. A lion doesn't ask if they can go rest. We don't have to ask to go rest. But it is mandatory for you to lead well and to continue operating at a high level that you do take that time to rest, because a multi-million-dollar business that requires you to sacrifice every weekend just to keep up daily operations afloat isn't an asset. It's a high-stakes prison sentence. And if you lock yourself in there every Saturday morning, then you are giving up that time that you could be investing in your community and those you love and your hobbies and the things that also bring you joy. Because what is the point of all of this without a point to all of this? So here is my advice. Heed my wisdom is to have the structural courage to set hard boundaries, trust your weekday playbooks, and protect that rest that fuels your strategic advantage.